Okay, awesome. So here we go. We are chapter 20, impersonation. CIA Academy of Espionage, faculty housing, February 10th, 0200 hours. It took us a long time to work our way back to the academy. We returned via an extremely indirect route, zigzagging back and forth across the city, using the subway, cabs, and our feet, constantly checking over our shoulders to see if we were being followed. When we were finally on a block from the campus, I saw to my relief that there were CIA agents posted everywhere around it. Three manned the main gate, still alert despite the late hour, guzzling coffee and blowing into their hands to keep warm. I started toward them, but Erica held me back. Not so fast. What's wrong? I asked, concerned. They're on our side, aren't they? Don't look so worried. They're safe. But the moment they see you, they probably have orders to whisk you right off to the principal's office for a debriefing. And all they'll do is pump you full of lies. If we want the truth about what's happened tonight, we'll have to get it ourselves. We rounded the campus until we came to a bank on the far side of the street. We entered the ATM kiosk, and Erica typed in a pin on the side of the machines. Steel curtains instantly dropped over the window, obscuring us from view, and then the ATM swung free from the wall, revealing a hidden staircase beyond. The most surprising thing about this was how unsurprising I found it. At this point, I would have been shocked to enter a building with Erica and not find a hidden passageway. The stairs connected to the maze of subterranean tunnels under the campus, only there was another security door to pass through to access it. This is the only route from the tunnels that goes off campus, Erica explained. Thus, it's extremely classified. So, of course, you know about it, I said. Erica only smiled in response. She led me through the underground maze without hesitation, as though she committed every hall and intersection of it to memory. Eventually, we climbed a staircase and emerged from behind the snacks machine in a building I'd never been inside before. We were in the main lobby of what appeared to be a dormitory, only nicer. The room was cozy and inviting, if a bit threadbare. Leather couches were arranged before a still smoldering fire. The walls were lined with books. It had the comforting smell of pipe tobacco and weapon lubricating oil. Faculty housing? I asked. Many of the professors still lived at home, though a few were known to have residence at the academy. Erica nodded, then led me up another flight to a short corridor with our only four doors off of it. She used her own key to let us in one of them. Faculty apartments were much nicer than our dorms. Although there wasn't there wasn't sorry, that wasn't saying much. There were prison cells nicer than our dorms. This one was a well-appointed single bedroom with a living room and a kitchenette. It was tremendously messy, however, with newspapers strewn everywhere and half-drunk glasses of water teetering on any available surface. Professor Crandall was asleep in an easy chair in front of the television, wearing a moth-eaten terry cloth robe with striped pajamas, a racing form across his lap. When we entered, he snapped awake with a start and looked about, disoriented. Is that you, Thelma? He asked, sounding more than a little senile. Back from Tuscaloosa already? Okay, quick question. So, who is Professor Crandall? Those of you who have read it, who remembers anything about Professor Crandall?
Professor Crandall, isn't he like the self-protection or something along those lines? Like Professor who also attacked Ben with ninjas?
Correct. Yes. And what's he like?
He's
Yeah,
like an
Jay
he's like
Yeah.
old grumpy man who does not like to being interrupted, and all the kids sit in the back of the class so they don't have to sit near him because he'll
Yes,
lose.
exactly. He's very old.
He attacked a
And
child with ninjas.
yeah, and he used ninjas to attack Ben earlier in the year whenever he got caught in class talking. Okay. So I assume we're going to find a little bit more about him the next few pages. All right, here we go. You can drop the old coot act, Erica said. Ripley's cool. Instantly, Crandall became someone else entirely. His standard, slightly confused gaze sharpened, his posture straightened, and he seemed, for the first time in my experience, to know exactly what was going on around him. Right. I suspect you're here to find out how mucked up everything is then? This surprised me. Hold on, I said. Your entire personality, the whole doddering professor thing, is an act? Of course. Crandall sounded slightly offended. The best way to stay in the loop is to let everyone believe He also said he's stinky. Sorry, that's funny. It's like everyone believe you're totally out of it. You have no idea how much information people spill right in front of you when they think you're a drooling idiot. Plus, it throws off your enemies too, and I've racked up my share of those over the years. They tend to underestimate you when they think you're not playing with the full deck. He tossed aside the racing form, revealing the cocked and loaded semi-automatic pistol that he had been resting in his lap. Would either of you care for some tea? I'd love some orange zinger if you've got it, Erica said. Make it two, I said. Colonel hopped out of his chair and scooted to the kitchenette. Now that he wasn't putting on an act, he moved like a man 50 years younger, as spry as anyone in my class. Erica, I assume from your presence here that you've cleaned up after your father again, he asked. Yes, Erica replied. Did anyone important notice? That he royally screwed up? Crandall said. Certainly not. He's got the big boys eating out of his hand. One of the agents from the secure room got a bit suspicious, though. Fincher, I think. So your father pinned the blame squarely on him and came out looking pristine, as usual. They'll probably give him another medal for it, once they learn Ripley here is alive, of course. But they don't know that yet, do they? I asked. No, they don't, Crandall chuckled. I suspect the higher-ups are all really freaking out right now. Pretty heavy. What's the fallout? Erica asked. Pretty bad. Crandall plopped tea bags in 3 mugs. There's never been an abduction here before. At least 3 separate internal investigations have been ordered already. And platoons of agents have been mobilized to track down Mr. Ripley. It's like D-Day. The head of the CIA brought your little ruse about jackhammer whole hog and is terrified of what would happen if it fell in the wrong hands. I quite think he's gotten in his idea to falsify Ripley's crypto credentials in the first place. Then maybe I ought to let them know I'm all right, I said. In a rush to be interrogated, are you? Crandall poured out hot water into our mugs. Because that's what will happen the moment you show your face. You'll be tossed in a holding cell and grilled 6 ways from Sunday. I frowned. Couldn't they just ask me nicely? Perhaps this way lets them cover their tracks, Erica explained. The last thing the administration wants is for you to show up here looking like a hero for escaping the enemy and then telling the whole student body the truth about what happened tonight. They need time to do damage control and establish their own version of the story, one in which they don't seem like such idiots that they needed a teenage girl to rescue you. So why don't you rest up first? Crandall handed me the tea and proffered a plate, a homemade chocolate chip cookie. I sampled one. It was easily the best thing I'd eaten at spy school. This is delicious. The secret is I add a pinch of coconut flakes, Crandall said proudly. Now then, it probably behooves you to do a bit of interrogation ourselves to get an idea of whom we're dealing with here. Can you tell me anything about your abductors, Benjamin? What they looked like, sounded like, even smelled like? Not really, I admitted. I was unconscious with a hood over my head most of the time I was with them. All I know is they were listening to sports radio in English. Randall cocked a bushy eyebrow, intrigued. The prevailing theory right now, based upon the chatter that was picked up, is that our enemy is Arabic. Are you suggesting that might be erroneous? Possibly, I said. Though it's possible that my abductors just like sports. There's not many radio stations here that broadcast in Arabic. And right after Erica jumped on the roof of the van, one of the bad guys spoke in a language I didn't know. Could it have been some form of Arabic? Crandall asked. I can't say, I admitted sadly. I didn't get to hear much. Erica knocked them all unconscious pretty quickly. She tends to do that. Crandall gave Erica a pleased smile and seated back in his easy chair with a cup of tea. What about you, dear? What were your impressions? They certainly looked Arabic, Erica said, but I was kind of busy trying to not get killed by them to ask where they were from. Ben's point about the radio was interesting. Maybe they were merely trying to look like Arabs to throw the CIA off their scent. Same goes for broadcasting the chatter in Arabic. Why'd they even broadcast the chatter at all? I asked. Crandall looked at me curiously. Do you find something odd about that? Yes, I replied. Why alert the CIA to the fact that they were coming after me? If they knew the campus so well, why not just sneak in and grab me in the middle of the night? Crandall turned to Erica and arched his eyebrows again. He's smarter than you thought, he said. Erica shrugged. He's getting better. Crandall returned his attention to me. You make a good point, but consider this. The campus was already crawling with agents. The enemy had a limited amount of time to get you, and they couldn't be sure where you were at any given moment. But with the tip-off, They knew exactly where you'd be, inside the security room. That still doesn't take care of all the agents, I said. Not unless the enemy knew there was going to be a diversion, and they couldn't have possibly known Mike was coming here. I didn't even know he was coming. As I spoke, however, something occurred to me. I didn't do a very good job of hiding it. Crandall and Erica both sat forward. What is it? The professor asked. Do you still have that post-it note? I asked Erica. She withdrew it from her utility belt, still in the plastic evidence bag. This is from the van they used to abduct Ben, she informed Crandall. I took it from her. There on the post-it was the number 70,200, exactly as I'd remembered. I simply needed to see it again and make sure my mind wasn't playing tricks on me. They did know Mike was coming, I said. Erica sat down next to me. How can you tell? It was the first time I knowed something that she hadn't. I probably shouldn't have milked it, but I was in too big of a hurry to impress her. It's a time. Though instead of writing it in hours and minutes, they wrote it in seconds, probably to keep anyone from realizing it's a time. 70,200 seconds after midnight is 7:30 in the evening. Exactly the time your friend arrived on campus. Crandall slapped the arm on his chair. You're positive about that? He started to do the math on a piece of paper.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch.
Okay. No need for that, Erica told him. Ben's cryptography skills might be fake, but his math skills are the real deal. Crandall set down his pencil. So they plant the chatter and get the CIA to put you right where they want you. Then they tell your friend to come see you at exactly 7:30 to divert the CIA. How? I asked. Figure that out and you might just find our mole, Erica said. We need to talk to your pal. Wait, where is Mike? Even I asked it. I was angry I hadn't thought of it long before. I'd been so wrapped up in my own plight that night, I'd completely forgotten that my best friend had experienced some terrifying things as well. The last I'd seen of Mike, he'd been staring down the barrel of 50 guns at once. Mike was no stranger to run ins with authority, but this one still must have scared him stiff. Last I heard, he was incarcerated, Crandall said. They put him in jail? I asked, upset. No, the professor raised a hand, signaling me to relax. They're only questioning him, but given the circumstances, I'd say it'd take him quite some time to prove his innocence. For all we know, they're still working on him. I shuddered, figuring that wouldn't be fun for Mike at all. And then what happens to him? Probably a full-scale whitewash, Erica said. What's that? I asked. They lie to him, Crandall replied. The most elaborate lie he's ever encountered, to allay any suspicion he has about this place. They'll tell him it really is a science academy, but it was being leased to the Marines for practices and stumbled across their exercises. Or there was an FBI sting operation taking place, or who knows what. They'll do whatever it takes to sell the story, even drag in the chairman of the armed forces if they had to. And if Mike doesn't buy it, I knew my best friend well. No one had less respect for authority than he did. I was beginning to think this was pretty healthy. This was a pretty healthy belief system. Crandall followed. Let's just say it's in his best interest to buy it. I sat forward, worried. They'll kill him? No, Crandall said. The people who run the CIA might be incompetent, paranoid, and borderline insane, but they're not psychotic. They'll simply do whatever it takes to make him forget what he's seen. There are several different methods, but none of them is a day at the beach. I slumped back into my chair, wishing I'd never heard of spy school. It was bad enough that I'd ended up in serious trouble, but at least I'd volunteered for service. Now my best friend had been drawn into danger simply because he wanted to take me to a party at Elizabeth Pasternak's house. He tried to do something nice for me, and was suffering for it. Began to understand why Erica kept all human contact to a minimum. Her family had been spies long enough for her to know that. If you got close to someone, they could get hurt. So the enemy is running circles around the CIA, I said. And instead of doing something about it, they're busy working over Mike. Oh, it's worse than that, Colonel said. They're considering initiating Project Omega. I had never seen Erica look truly concerned about anything until that moment. She wheeled on Crandall, eyes wide. Because of this? Why? Because they're scared, Crandall told her. Hold on, I interrupted. What's Omega? The last-ditch, end-of-the-line program, Erica said bitterly. They shut down the academy. They can't do that, I said. Given how upset I'd be at school a minute before, I was surprised by how much I hated the idea of it being closed. Maybe the place wasn't for me, but without it, where was someone like Erica supposed to go? And how would I ever see her again? Sure they can, Erica replied sourly. Our mole can corrupt decades of work. It doesn't matter how good I am. If my name gets leaked, I'm useless as a spy. Same goes for everyone else here. So why even bother to keep the place open any longer? It's just a waste of money. Now, Colonel said reassuringly, you're acting like the decision has already been made. Well, why wouldn't they initiate Omega? Erica asked. The enemy has already shown they know this campus inside and out. They kidnapped Ben out of the security room. How much more compromised could this place be? I'll admit it looks bad, Colonel said. Then he added pointedly, however, the higher ups aren't meeting to discuss Omega until this afternoon. If some significant progress could be made in the mole hunt before then, maybe they'd color their thinking. How significant? I asked. We'd need to find the mole, Erica turned to Crandall. What's the time on the meeting? 1 o'clock, the professor replied. Right here in the main conference room. Where's that? I asked. In the Hale building, next to the library, Crandall told me. Check my watch. It was 2:30 in the morning. We had fewer than 12 hours to catch a mole who'd outfoxed the entire CIA the night before. It didn't seem possible. Erica was undaunted, however. She was now revved up, determined to do anything that could save the academy. What's our best lead? She asked. Took me a moment to realize she was asking me, not Crandall. I scrambled to make sense of everything that had happened in the last day. One name sprang to mind before all others. Chip Scatter. Chip, Crandall laughed. That boy's a moron. Or maybe he's just wants us to think he is, I said, which struck home with Crandall and silenced him quickly. He wanted me to meet him a few hours ago. I found the crumpled note in my pocket and showed it to the others. Meet me in the library tonight. Midnight. Your life depends on it. Erica read it, then looked at me, surprised. That's Chip's handwriting, all right. Why didn't you mention this? Sort of slipped my mind, I replied, with being abducted and all. Any idea what this was about? Erica asked. No, I admitted. Crandall set his teacup down with a sigh. No offense, Benjamin, but this isn't much of a lead. Chip's connected to the last bomb that was under the school, Erica said. Either he planted it or he found it. That puts him closer to the plot than anyone else. And now he's reaching out to Ben. If this note is even from him, Crandall cautioned, handwriting's not hard to fake. This could be a wild goose chase designed to cost us valuable time. There's one other thing about Chip, I said. He's dating Tina Cuervo. Erica and Crandall both wheeled on me, surprised by the information and the fact that I knew it before they did. How do you know that? Erica asked. I started to answer, but Crandall suddenly put a finger to his lips, signaling me to be quiet. In the ensuing silence, I heard the distant sound of feet coming up the main stairwell. It was so faint, it was amazing Crandall had picked it up while we were all talking. Crandall flicked on his television. It appeared to be ancient, but it was actually linked to the campus security system. Crandall quickly found the camera feed from the stairs in the building. 6 men were ascending, armed to the teeth. The enemy, I gasped. Worse, Crandall said. The administration. He spun toward us. If they catch you, your investigation is over. Go. Find Chip. Erica already had the window open. Followed her out after the warmth of Crandall's apartment. The cold hit me like a slap in the face. I leapt the 1 story to the ground. They were waiting for us outside. The building was surrounded. A dozen lights snapped on at once, blinding me. Dark shapes raced at me from the shadows. Ripley, one shouted. Don't run. We just want to make sure you're all right. Don't listen to them, Erica warned me as she leapt into action, a flurry of kicks and whirls. Several of her attackers went down quickly, clutching various body parts and groaning in pain. But there were too many for her to save me, too. Now that she'd gone in the attack, the agents dropped any presence of concern for my well-being and swarmed me. I did my best to escape, but that wasn't much. I only managed to knock one man's glasses askew before the others piled atop me. Though the tangle of arms and legs was bad, I could see a glimpse of Erica disappearing into the woods with a horde of agents behind her. Then someone shoved my face into the ground and hissed in my ear, "Come with us. The administration wants to speak with you." All right, that was chapter 20. Chapter 20. So if you just joined in the last few minutes, I'm actually going to I'm going to read Took here in like 1 minute. But I just recorded this. So if you haven't been able to listen to the whole thing, I'm going to be posting it on the page. But right now I have to kind of hurry over and get ready to read Took. So hopefully tomorrow when I read, it'll be a little bit quicker. I kind of took my time there. It took a little longer than I thought. But anyway, I hope to see you all in the next chat for Took. I'm going to post the link in Google Classroom. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you in a few minutes.